All right, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dan Diesel. Welcome to the Money Room. I go with me, the host, co-host, I took speed, and today we're gonna continue talking to you about Afrobeats. We spoke about Nollywood last time. I want to talk to you now about Afrobeats.
Yes. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Now, last one we talked about Nollywood, right? So, Afrobeats. Can you share with people what Afrobeats in case somebody is
Sure,
here?
sure, sure. I think we touched on that a little bit last week. So let's just you tune in for the first time. This is the Money Room. We talk about you know, financial world in most ways you can think of, whether it comes from saving your money to making money to budgeting and whatnot. We'll talk about different topics, and we'll try to mostly focus on the financial aspects of that. So last week we spoke about Nollywood. We spoke about Nollywood from a financial perspective, and right now we're talking about Afrobeats. I want to talk about Afrobeats more from a financial perspective too. Obviously, here and there we might go a little bit off financial stuff, but that's for the most part what we're gonna talk about when regarding Afrobeats. Now, Afrobeats, what is that, right? In case you don't know, just like we have different genres of music. Like you have reggae. Reggae is for Jamaica predominantly. We have hip hop. Hip hop is known in the United States. We have different styles of music for different locations. Afrobeats is predominantly music that's created and produced in Africa, the continent of Africa, and it's like a popular or urban version of African music. So obviously those African music before Afrobeats, traditional African music, but this is like a more urban and more modern um, way of producing African music and mass producing it into the public. That's what Afrobeats is. It's a genre, you know, from Africa specifically. Some people will argue on that, but from West Africa, Nigeria is definitely one of the most popular Afrobeat spots. So is Ghana, up and coming. We have Afrobeats coming from Kenya and even South Africa. So Afrobeats is where it's at right now. It's popping.
Absolutely. Yep. That makes complete sense. Now, Afrobeats. Some people may want to confuse that with Fela's music because he originated Fela music. Would you like to speak on that?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, from what I'm not really a big fan of. I'm not really. It's probably weird to a lot of people, but I'm not really a big fan of Fela music. But yeah, from a
Why is that? Why is that? Why is that?
it's just not something. It's not my cup of tea. I think I only know one of his songs, "Zombie" or "Zombie," and I like that, and that's about it. Teacher. I like that too. But I'm not
Oh,
really a
oh, so you like
hardcore.
two now? Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not hardcore. Yeah.
And if you don't know Fela is considered like a legend. He's like an OG when it comes to Nigerian music. He was like a rebel. He did his own thing. People liked him because he created music not just for the sound, but had like a big political message behind all his music. A lot of people who grew up on Fela, like my parents' generation, maybe your parents' generation, they liked his music for that reason.
Right.
But
Absolutely. Yeah.
Took CM is a controversy saying he doesn't like Fela. You better watch it. Watch out for your head.
That's why I said. That's why I'm very aware that it's completely weird to not like Fela. I didn't say I didn't like Fela. It's not my cup of tea. It's
Yeah,
not something.
his
Yeah.
music style. Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you.
But for what Fela stands for is essentially the originator of Afrobeats and taking African music international as one of the pioneers of that kind of thing. As a matter of fact, I don't know if Fela on Broadway still shows. Speaking of financial, that was a big money maker for the Jay-Z's and the Will Smith on Broadway, and I actually saw that, and that actually made me took a little bit more liking to him, knowing that it came from High Life, because High Life is my cup of tea when it comes to music. And even of recent times, I picked up I downloaded some music on Apple's Music that was actually his hardcore in the '60s high life music, way before what we know him as, which is the Anikulapo era.
Let me ask you this: do you consider Fela's kind of music? Fela, Femi Kuti, maybe Femi Kuti, but do you even consider Fela that era? You consider that Afro beats? Do you think that's Afro beats?
So from a standpoint of sound, it's not the same Afrobeat of today,
Exactly.
but his music was referred to as Afrobeat. You know, so now if you consider time that music does evolve even in sound, maybe then it will factor in there. And then the likes of Wizkid sometimes have infusion of Fela's sound in his music.
Yep, definitely has that influence. Yep.
Right. Even the band, right? And the band and Wizkid are absolutely pioneers of the new era of taking Afrobeats international, right?
Yep.
So
And even before that, let's not forget what's his name? What's his name again? What you call it? Two Baba. I think it was
Two
Two Baba.
Face,
Two Face. Two
and,
Face.
and
Two
about to
Face was
sound weird
Two
again.
Face was really big. With bring. I know you guys say you like Two Face music or something like that. That's cool. I like Two Face music. Two Face was a big part of bringing modern day Afrobeats to the world. When I came into this country, at first, people didn't play any African music. The first African song, Nigerian song, African song, and Nigerian song to be specific, I ever heard on the radio was Two Face, African Queen. So I'll give Two Face prop for putting Nigeria on the map, putting Afrobeats on the map. You go to 197, 105.1, Jamaican parties, they put Africa on the map with that song, and I gotta give Two Face credit for that.
I agree, and when you're talking about music, there's a showbiz. You got to talk about the showmanship of it, and maybe whatever your preference is musically speaking. But there's also the business. When it comes to the business side of things, you can't take away from Fela. You can't take away from Two Face. You can't take away from the Bunch. You can't take away from Wizkid. You can't take away from Davido. It is just what it is, and it's not
Definitely not. Definitely, I just don't want us to forget about Two Face in that equation, because it went from Fela and to
the
Wizkid,
Bunch. No, Two Face does not have the
in between in that timeline, and I don't want Two Face to be forgotten, because Two Face, before he became Two Face, right, and was out there doing his own thing as a single career, like most artists do. Once upon a time, he was actually in a group, Plantation Boys. Plantation Boys were killing it, not internationally, but in Nigeria, people know Plantation Boys was killing it. It was like not Backstreet Boys in sync, but they were killing it in their own way, like Boys to Men of Nigeria in their own little way. People argue about that. Maybe
no, it's true. It's true.
My prefer Style Plus or somebody else. Style Plus might be a better comparison to the vocal ability to Boys to Men, because these guys can sing their ass off. But they're doing their thing. They're killing the game at that time during their era, before all these guys came out. And after that, Two Face broke out into his own, and he did his own thing. A couple of the other guys from Plantation Boys, like LD, they still survived. Was LD? No, LD was from something else. Was from another group.
LD's Tribesmen.
Tribesmen were good too. That's another story. But they're all around that same era when the industry was so young. The industry was so young. There was not that much money in the game. Now there's money in the game. Everybody wants to just jump, right? What's the money room? When there's money, that's incentive for people to go in there. Now the talents, the competition level gets higher. Right. But these guys were just doing it for the passion of it, because they love music and they love to sing, and they created such good art that evolved to what has come to today.
Right.
They were the spark that caused the fire.
Right. So the reason why I didn't, that's why I said it was music, and there's also the business. On the business side of things, it's almost like the definition of Afrobeat is a little flaky, Now we just dumped Afrobeat, Two Face into that, but Two Face music is actually more R&B-ish than when we were talking about Fela music.
That's true.
The Bunch and Wizkid have that Fela edge more than Two Face, which is why
that's true. But if for those viewing who know and those who don't know, Fela's music will stand out distinctively different from Two. I think Two Face was more from the modern era where people go to a studio and record a song and put it up. Fela he's always been a stage performer kind of guy. He's very theatrical in his ways. So when it comes to contemporary, urban Afrobeats as we know it today, Two Face, a lot of people see as a pioneer in that, because that's where you go into a studio, you record, you release the record, and blah blah blah. And that was the style of music Two Face did. So Two Face music, if you listen to it, obviously the style is more R&B, but that quality of music, you can listen to a Fela song, for example, it could go for 10 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. Yes. It just goes, right? But when I'm talking about the generic, the generic format we have now for music, where you have a hook, you have a verse, you have a hook, you have a verse kind of thing. And that's kind of what Afrobeats has catered into that's why you have find on Apple Music, because Apple Music is not gonna just put in 20 minutes of songs, that's not the norm. But Afrobeats was able to come into that how do I put it, not necessarily fit into the world, but fit that generic template, if you format of how music is made. And that's what Two Face did, and all the other guys after him have followed that. So even though their music might not sound exactly alike, but they're all from that era of this modern way of making music. Versus Fela, who's like a stage performer, his sound is different, his instruments are different, he plays his own instruments. That's a different era of music, So So that's debatable. Some people might want to say Fela is not Afrobeats. You know, some people might want to say that. You know, Fela
Yeah.
and what's that guy? Lagbaja. Is it
Lagbaja.
different? Yeah, a different style of music. Well, Lagbaja too. He is smart. He taps into the Afrobeats music a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Like Coco below a little bit, you know. But he still
Yeah.
stays true to his own lane, you know. So that's good. So
You know, Lagbaja is a high life. You know, it's high life hardcore. And that's where Fela came from, except that Fela go into this radicalized sound, you know. But yeah, I mean, compared to Two Face is the pioneer of the
there we
new
go.
school
There we go.
Afrobeat. If you're in London and you're watching me and you say Afrobeat and you don't know what I'm talking about, you're right. If you say Two Face created it, you are also right. but when we start mentioning Fela, we're kind of like, because Fela died in 1997, I think. We're kind of like now going back now to kind of like the origination of the sound, and we don't want to go that far so we can talk about the money, because even the fellas enjoyed probably local money, stage plays, and the shrine money kind of, but the kind of money that the Davidos, the Wizkids,
The
and
way they're making money now. So and you see that in every industry. We talked about sports before. Once upon a time, you know, an NFL player made like crap in, like, you know, back in the day. Baseball players were getting chump change, and the competition grows, the industry goes, people make so much money. So as big as Fela was, as big as Lagbaja was, Lagbaja's still making money now, but compared to that time, Two Face, as big as he was then, like probably the biggest African artist. Let's not forget these guys. P Square, they're killing it too. They're pretty sick, and they've been there for a while. They have longevity in the game.
P Square killed it.
Yeah, and they still got a lot of longevity in the game. Let me put their own credit out there, because they've actually been there for a long time. A lot of people who come to Afrobeats, they go in and they fade away. These guys stuck with it, and they had that longevity. So shout out to P Square on that one. But yeah, back to the money, man. These guys are making real money now, like real money. Like I was looking up some numbers, and I think the band is worth like 30 million now. $30 million.
$10 million?
Yeah, this was unheard of in the days of Idris and all the other guys. You know, when it comes, they would never fathom they'll make this amount of money. You know,
yeah.
The band is like 30 million. What do I have here?
I think that's
like 12 million. 12 million whiskey.
12 what?
12 million, 12 M.
Okay.
And that's because he hasn't been in the game for as long as the band. You know, the band also has artists under him and stuff. So
yeah.
Whiskey. We have who else? Don Jazzy. He's not an artist per se. He's a producer, but he probably has more money than the band. You know? So
what is he worth?
I don't know his exact number for
okay, because he was on the Forbes list. He ended up on the Forbes list.
Exactly, he's up there. He was pushing a Bentley and shit when I saw him last in Nigeria. He has money. Who else? Davido comes from wealth already, but he has like, I think he's worth like 14 million personally.
Yeah, we're not gonna count the money wealthy.
Yeah, but he's like 14 million, which is pretty impressive. So, you know,
that's good.
This industry is blossoming. You know, this is an industry that, you know, we witness grow from like nothing, you know, and boom, people are making real money now. And, you know, it almost sucks that a lot of pioneers don't necessarily benefit the same way people are making money now. No, unless they're smart enough to invest in it, which is why we're talking about investing in something that's going to grow. If you're smart enough to start a record label, say I'm Two Face, and I make all this money from this, start a record label. If you know your singing career is not going to go forever, but at least your money is going to grow because you have a record label, you have the reputation in the industry, and now you have artists under you, which is how a lot of artists in hip hop do it. You know, you're not necessarily going to be a rapper forever, but also after a while, you might take a step to the background and have other people under you. You could keep rapping, like, you know, you have Jay-Z, you know, you have Dr. Dre, you have 50 Cent, you know, you get people signed under you, and that way, even if you're not out there producing records yourself, you could actually invest in the industry and let your money grow with the industry that way, even though you're not making money through your own talent of actually singing or rapping, you know.
You know, the good thing about in Nigeria, to be specific, the good thing about music industry over there, good and bad, is also that there's a lot of under the table money. Money that's not necessarily documented in the sense of Davido, who is internationally known now. And
Don Jazzy, 35 M's, Don Jazzy.
That makes sense, you know. There's a lot of under the table money. There's a lot of money that comes from you know, Baba show up, you know, we'll dish you something. Okay, we'll send somebody over to your house tomorrow. There's a lot of that kind of money, even from the corporate corporate world of Nigeria, like the MTNs and the Glows of Nigeria. They send under the table monies all the time. Even the government, senators, governors have entertainment budget that they share a lot of those.
That's true. Good thing you mentioned that. And you know what? Believe it or not, it even happens here. I've heard.
Of course.
Maybe not in Nigeria. Even like maybe like some of these Arab countries. people have actually paid, you know, private for private singers like for Beyonce and Jay. So you know,
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, they'll fly for these people out to come and sing for their background stuff at their wedding or their private birthday. So that happens, you know, and it doesn't happen as much yet, but it happens, right? And in Nigeria, as you mentioned, it happens a lot in Nigeria. Like, say this senator wants to have a big birthday party, you can hire Whiskey to come and sing there.
Yeah,
and they get all that, you know, all that money. You know, which is not necessarily the money you make from selling records.
Yeah, it's not the kind of money that Forbes can count. You know,
exactly.
And those can, you know, so there's a lot of those too. It's a positive and a negative. You mentioned Lagbaja earlier. The major way that musicians are supposed to make money is from royalties, right? And there's a major problem in Nigeria with radio stations not properly accounting for royalties. I mean, you know, they're using their music and they're not properly accounting for how they pay them. And and that's a major problem. That's why the likes of Lagbaja, you mentioned earlier, is probably making money. He's probably making money from a little shows here and there, but he's probably broke. It's probably, I don't know, but he's probably broke as hell as compared to.
I don't think so. Well, compared to the
likes of Davido and Wizkid. Davido and Wizkid can now legitimately count some royalties, at least from international platforms.
Yeah, you know, they actually signed to, I think 2 of them might be signed to Sony right now.
They are
Davido and Wizkid. We'll have a different conversation about that. But I heard that Sony has actually put, like, you know, now Sony does, they have like different restrictions. And I think the last couple of songs we were talking about this with one of my friends recently. The last couple of songs that Wizkid has put out, they don't have his name on it. So it looks like maybe Sony is actually restricting Wizkid from putting his name on songs now. And people are like, wow, that's funny. Because he puts out a lot of music now, but you're not seeing Wizkid on the songs. It's like,
really?
Yeah.
I saw something like that.
Paul said like Starboy. But he's not saying Wizkid on the song, so that's kind of funny. And David O, on the other hand, I think I heard it was in a similar. This is what I'm hearing from inside sources. Some people, yeah. But anyway, David O, who was actually in a similar situation, right, with in the industry with Sony, but because he had that bread, he was able to kind of negotiate with them at the table to let him use his name, you know, on the song. So I don't know, Wizkid might be trying to sort his stuff out with Sony. So there's also pros and cons. You know, they're also happy that now the international, they're big, they're signing with these record labels. But we know that these record labels also are very good at taking advantage of people. So they got to be smart with that.
Now, somewhere around 2008 and 2010, LD moved back to Nigeria. You know, LD who is...
I like LD, man. I like LD.
Who is also a legend. Like, he's a legend when it comes to...
He's talented.
From tribesmen, from pioneering Nigerian music as we know it today. Before the D'banjis came, you know, he was part of a group just like Plantation Boys. So he went back to Nigeria with the Banky W's back in 2008 to 10, somewhere around that. And, you know, they try to standardize a lot of things. But there are some forces that come against you. The market forces are always more powerful than anything else, right? If you want to standardize royalty payments, right? The market and the alabas and the marketers and the regular market, the one that holds those things on the streets, right? They will fight against you because now you're trying to tap into their money somehow, some way because of the ecosystem, right? So,
well, you know, that good thing you mentioned that the whole thing about royalties, and I think this affects the music industry as a whole, not just here but globally. And you see that people don't make their money anymore from those records. So record sales are actually because of the internet, how the internet has grown. Remember the time people just download music all the time, that affected artists and how they make their money. Most music artists today, they make their money, even here too, from going on tour. They tour. They need to tour, sell tickets, make money. Tour, sell tickets, make money. That's how they make their money. As far as selling, before they used to sell CDs, right? Who buy CDs anymore, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. So they make the bulk of their money from.
No, but a lot of money.
Tickets. That's where they get most of the money from now.
But a lot of money transferred to streaming. You know, I was
streaming is there too, but it's not enough. It's there, but think about it.
Did you see the video I posted?
No, actually, I didn't see that. No.
Oh, I posted a video about they pay 0.007 cent dollars, right? $0.007 per streaming, and there's the variations on that video. When you get a chance, go watch it. Variations on the video from platform to platform, like from Tidal to Apple to YouTube, which pays the lowest of all of them, right? To Spotify, and the guy specified all the money.
That's a good point. Look how low that is. I mean, what I'm trying to say is paint the comparison between back in the day when artists used to sell CDs, like albums, People
Mm-hmm.
buy those albums for like, tens of dollars, right? And now you get an Apple subscription, $10 a month, and you can listen to any song you want to listen to in the freaking world at any
Right.
time. So you can see the margins have compressed. The margin to make money in that.
Did it compress, or do you think they are making a lot more money?
No, they're making a lot less money through the sales of the actual records, but now they have to actually get that revenue. They have to rebalance their portfolio essentially and say, okay, we need to make more money from going on tour, and that's why they go on so much tours these days.
I get that, but I think there's a lot more money from streaming than it was from CD sales. CD sales,
Not to the artist though. Not to the artist.
not to the artists,
Not to
not
the
to the
artist.
artists.
Yeah, Apple is making the money. All these other people
Apple's
are
making-
getting their own piece on cost of the pie. The artist is making less money from those streaming.
But yes, historically speaking, you make your money from shows. Even more importantly now that but
Now more than ever. Yeah.
yeah, now more than ever. And the same thing with Nigeria too. Nigeria now they're able to do shows like I think the band and in collaborations with Don Jazzy and his whole clan just announced a reunion tour with more hits reunion tour. So
I'll do well.
that's something that people are hungry for, But the good news there is that in Nigeria, when we're growing up, there were tours around the universities, I guess, but they were not big money tours, right? So now they are able to make some good money. I mean, these guys can pull in 50, 60, 70 grand per night as an artist, even in Nigeria. That's why when they come here, and this is a good point we need to pull out here, right? You notice that there's not a lot of them coming here anymore to New York City for concerts.
I'm happy you brought that up. I'm happy brought it up. But I saw an interview with these guys, T Square, because those guys are those guys are so smart business wise. They're evil, right? They have their own. They produce their own music. They make their own beats. Everything was in house. So like, and they make their own songs. So all the money was coming directly to their pocket. So their pockets are fat as hell. So you see what I'm saying? Everything was in house.
Right.
Like a lot of artists, okay, they have the talent, but now they have to outsource the talent and have a different record label. So money's going to different places. But these guys made their own beats. They made their own videos. They did everything themselves. So for that reason, they make a shit ton of money. That's number one. So they're comfortable. Now the second thing now is when Africa is a big continent. So these guys they'll do shows in Nigeria. From Nigeria, different parts of Nigeria. They'll go to Ghana. They'll go to Kenya. They'll go to South Africa. They're getting booked everywhere. So I saw an interview and they're like, so now people call them to come for the United States to come and make chump change if they waste time with flights and bringing their crew.
Makes some sense, right?
They're like, I find that funny. I find that funny. I'll stay right here and make my money. Why am I coming here to make less money when I can make more money here? Well, that kind of thing.
I mean, like probably about 7 years ago, I saw that coming, and to be honest with you, I was trying to see if I could possibly get into promotion too, concert promotion. But when I did, just from the outside, you look in and it doesn't make sense already. Like as far as money, and the video is going to come, is going to try to at the time it would charge 15 grand, 20 grand, right? And then you look at it, and this guy can make 50 grand in Kano and get back home anytime, and then jump from there, go to South Africa, right? Why would he come all the way to United States, right, to come and collect 15, and I can't even pay him up front. I have to wait to collect money at the door. It won't make
with that said, the only thing that I think will make sense now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The only way I think will make sense now is because the Naira has gone down 300%.
Okay.
So now that's an advantage because now you can come and earn dollars. So if that might be a bad timing to get into that promotion thing, but now this guy does this thing every year now. One something Africa, one sport of Africa. I went for the concert 2 years ago. I mean, was packed. The guy
one fest.
Yeah, one African music.
They're losing money with one fest though.
One African music fest. The second one wasn't as good, but that first one I went to was packed.
It was packed, but they also spent a ton of money on renting out Barclays.
But the tickets were not cheap either. The tickets were not cheap.
But they were cheaper than a typical concert at Barclays, though. Barclays is not cheap.
No, the tickets were not cheap. They're different tickets, man. They're different tickets. Obviously, different tickets from different areas. The tickets.
I'm talking from a generic standpoint.
And it was packed. So I'm pretty sure he made money on the first one. The second one, I looked at it. I saw the video people put up on Instagram and stuff.
No, wait. You're pretty sure he made money on the first one?
From the look of it, he must have made money.
Well, I'm telling you, from the insiders, from an insider person out, they lost money. But the goal was to create the brand big enough. Eventually, they'll make money. On that first one, they actually lost money, which was the reason why they went to a smaller, the
You
one that they did. Yeah, that's exactly what I was told. That's why they went to the smaller one in where is it? The island? What do you call Coney Island? The
okay,
other,
that makes sense.
you
That
know, they
makes
went
sense.
to a smaller one. They were really trying to do it big. That's why they went for Barclays,
No,
and,
that
and,
makes sense.
and it
That
was
makes
a
sense.
risk.
Why the downsides? When I saw the second videos, I didn't go for the second one, and the thing was smaller. But going back to what I was saying, the
Mhm.
currency has slid 300%. So maybe at that time, it might be, hold on, that's the point, because a big part of his cost, other than paying for the Barclays Center, he spent a lot of money. So this billionaire guy, right? He spent a lot of money.
Yeah,
Other than paying for the Barclays Center, you have to cost for the artists. You have to pay for the artists too who are going to come.
exactly.
Right? But now here's the catch. Here's the catch.
Uh-huh.
The artists who will come in here from Nigeria will actually you have more flexibility when it comes to negotiating, because now the currency has slipped 300%. So I'm not saying you're going to pay them three times less, but
Yeah.
he has more wiggle room in negotiation, because now people in Nigeria want dollars. They rather get paid in dollars right now, because that currency is going to carry more weight when they go back home. You see what I'm saying?
My thing with that is that I
So
think
that might be a good time.
my thing with that is that I think this caliber of artists already charge in dollars, even if they're playing in Nigeria. That's what I'm thinking. They already charge in dollars, and even if there's wiggle room, like you said,
There's
I
more wiggle
agree there
room.
might be some wiggle room, but I don't think it's gonna be that much. And
For
and even ordinary tomato seller in the market is literally telling you why it's like when you're buying tomato right now. He's telling you why it's more expensive. He's telling you like, listen, dollar is expensive, right? So much less people of that caliber who lives in Lekki, they're already charging dollars. I don't think that's much of a factor when you consider national artists.
here's the thing. If you're doing business with somebody who knows nothing about the economy, right? You have to think of who you're doing business with. If you're doing business with someone who knows nothing about the economy,
Right.
nothing about Nigeria, then obviously you can say, oh yeah, charge dollars and that's the end, right? But if you're dealing with somebody who's from Nigeria,
Right.
knows the situation in Nigeria, I know the exchange rate has changed. That gives you leverage, and now leverage in negotiation with those kind of artists, and say, hey, instead of me paying you 100 grand, I could end up paying you 80, right? I could end up paying you 60. But the thing is, that might even be more applicable to the bigger artists, like say Wizkid and Davido.
Right.
Wizkid and Davido, the rest will be a lot more flexible. Trust me. And I'm pretty sure
They're having another one in London, by the way. So
London will probably be better because there's so many Nigerians there, so many Africans there, and
yeah, it's closer to the house too, and yeah, I think it's the brand One Fest Africa. Some artists would just want to be on it, even for the sake of being on it, and they won't charge as much as they would charge on a regular show where they headline, right? So, but back to what we were saying, why if I could get paid 3 times this weekend in Kaduna, Kano, and Jos, right? 50 grand each in dollars.
without spending much more money.
Right.
You don't have to worry about visa. You don't have to worry about visa for your crew, because they'll people that travel with them.
Right.
And they give them trouble sometimes. You have to worry about visa with your crew.
You have to give them travel.
Accommodation, hotels, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about it. And some of those Abuja people won't pay for it. Say, oh, don't worry, they'll pay for it. So
the government entertainment budget will pay for those things.
They'll cover that.
So why would I come here and be begging people in Brooklyn to enter so they can shut down my show in 15 minutes later, put an NYPD shot, and then I'm still begging them for the half of my money.
The show years ago when Two Face came.
Which one?
Like 2005 or 2006.
I don't remember, but those guys were hot back then. There was a lot of concerts.
Was on pack. I don't know who paid for him to come out there, but that African Queen song was still buzzing. And it came out. That was like one of the first times a Nigerian artist came out here and performed.
They were still hot here, but here people don't like us here in the diaspora. We don't the level of appreciation we have of our own heart, like music and movies. It's not the same. These people are superstars in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We see them in the mall over here. We're acting like I don't want to act like I'm starstruck, right? They can't enter the freaking mall in Nigeria.
I like that a lot though, because Nigeria before, especially Nigerians before, right? Those artists, I'm saying like the artists from Afrobeats have reached a certain level of stardom where people where Nigerians, I feel like how I put it, the support for them internally from the other Nigerians is very high. Once upon a time, somebody will see Idris, or they might see another artist, or you can win or somebody, and say, yeah, no, let's walk past, like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But now, our artists have reached a level of stardom where little kids watch them and they get start.
But I feel like they come here. Those of us here in the diaspora, we still act that way, and we act like that way worse, right? We act that way with our pockets. If they said they are charging $40, so what is it that they're bringing? If they are charging $40, right? Whereas these people can charge $100 or they can charge 1 million naira per table in Nigeria for doing a show.
At the same time, I saw a video very recently. Some of those guys misbehave. I'm not going to say which one of the artists is.
But they're superstars.
He went for a show in Germany. He went for a show in Germany. He was supposed to perform there for, like, I forget how long, but he was booked, sold out the whole stadium, supposed to perform, right? And this is not Whiskey. This is not Davido. I won't say the guy's name, but the guy went out there for like 10 minutes and he left. So guess what? Everybody got mad. They wanted their money back. You can't do that kind of thing, because not only are you affecting your brand, you're affecting the rest of the Afrobeats guys and people who want to perform overseas.
I mean,
that kind of stuff is
nice. Did that a few years ago in Jersey here. I know the guy that was doing the promotion, and he said, "Hey, help him promote." At the time, we used to do an entertainment show on YouTube at the time, so we actually ended up helping him promote. A bunch of people promoted, and this guy walked in at 2 a.m. Now he walked in at 2 a.m. People were waiting. Now, here there are a couple of things that were wrong with that show. It's not just his fault. If Davido does a show in Brooklyn too, it's typically they walk in at they do a party, people dance until like 2 a.m. and then they do a 1-hour show to round it off.
The last show.
And that's this last show. But the thing is, the person that was doing the promotion, I guess, didn't really understand that dynamics. Plus, in New Jersey, the doors are supposed to be shut at 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
So there's, I believe it, there's always an unforeseen thing like that in that business, and that was one of it. So he walked in at 2 a.m. and then I actually feel like it wasn't his fault, because every show I've gone to since then, Terry G was in last year, 2017, I think, early 2017. He walked in at 2 a.m. That's the way they do it. They go bring them from the hotel around 2 a.m. So I think they were used to that. But the guy actually was prostrating for everybody and begging everybody and saying, "I'm sorry," and all those kind of thing, because I guess he was humble enough to do that. But you see, my point there is that when you do a show here and you have to deal with such nonsense, and you're a superstar in Nigeria, right? We're talking about the level of superstardom that these guys have reached right now, and that translates to dollars all day long, by the way, right? They are just getting bigger and bigger, but that also bringing negativity. Now, there's something I want to point out before I pass over to you. LD is designing a software. I don't know if he's still doing it.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's called Play Data, and it's supposed to help the artists track their royalties from the radio stations from airplay, and the forces against this thing is humongous, because we're talking about decades upon decades of a system.
I get what LD is trying to do, and it makes sense in theory, but I think he should know better as a Nigerian. Maybe he's been here for too long. You know better as a Nigerian. I know what happens in Nigeria. Go to Nigeria and say, "I want to make an app," and come on, let's be real here.
Now, not start to pay money.
Unless you know people, or you're talking to the right people who are going to help you push this thing. You can't just come with a great idea and expect to work just because it's a great idea. Because it is a good idea and it makes sense on paper. But the system is not structured that way. System is not structured that way. You can't just come and do that. If it wasn't here in this country, sure, it'll work. But the system is not structured that way. So you have to first tackle the system that's going to affect the app before you can push that kind of app. It makes sense. I like the idea, right? And it has a good intention behind it. I see why he's doing it, because he's an artist. He knows the struggle. But at the same time, bro, you got to be a little smarter than that. You got to understand what you're dealing with. And
you have to, as I always say, the market is always right. And
even if the market wants it, even if the artists want it, right? Because it's not a market makes sense when it's an open free market, like your stock exchange.
Well, I mean, the market is not.
The marketplace is fine when it's just a matter of demand and supply. But this is not a matter of just pure demand and supply. The demand could be there, and you could
in support of what you're saying. In support of what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So I'm saying the demand could be there, and he could be ready to supply this product. But there are other stuff that are affecting the free flow of this market.
No, that's what I'm saying. In support of what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
The market is not one dimensional, So the market is not always necessarily the people, right? Of course, the people want you to collect all your money. They are not the one paying out of their pocket. It's the radio directors that are going to be like, "What are you talking about? We have a system that works. Please go away."
It's the regulations. The regulations.
There's
The
NBC.
rules.
They
The
call
rules.
it Nigerian. They call it
The
Nigeria.
unseen laws.
Nigerian Broadcast Corporation. There's that one. There's government agency that needs to help in enforcing something like that, right? You need to have all these people on board before something like that can work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm agreeing with what you're saying, that if you're going to go into a system that's already existed like for decades like that, I mean, hopefully he expected that there was going to be some
Hopefully.
pushback,
Hopefully.
you
I
know?
wish him the best of luck, but that's not an easy
Yeah.
to
It
accomplish.
sounded exciting when I first heard about it, but then there's been a slowdown. I haven't heard much about it. It's called Play Data, and they may be switching modes, you know, on their business model, because that's the thing you're supposed to do in the first way. Your business model is supposed to fit
You know what?
around.
LD is a smart guy. The more I think about LD and the way he thinks, and like, well, I think he's a smart guy. I think,
Well, he left Nigeria altogether. He's
yeah,
back.
yeah. I think he knows. I think he'll know what he's dealing with. I think he knows what he's dealing with. Maybe, hopefully, he has some stuff in place to help him push through the obstacles he's facing. Right, but based on, I think he factored that in. I just
Okay.
hope it works out the best for him.
Now, how much do you think social media has helped Afrobeat?
A lot, a lot. Social media not just helped Afrobeats. I feel like it's helped the African content. It's helped spread a light and shine a light on the content, the so-called dark content, for people to see the light. For people to see light and understand that all the bullshit they see on CNN, the bullshit they see on National Geographic, all the crap they see about this about Africa is all trash. And people living on huts, all that stuff. No, maybe as a matter of fact, when you look at a picture of Africa, you might feel that you're living in the hut actually. You know. So I feel like social media has helped spread the light, and when that enlightenment, when that changes people's psychology on how they view something, right? Then now you're more receptive to stuff that comes from there. Whether it's the people, whether it's the music, whether it's the movies, right? Nollywood help with that. Whether it's the movies, whether it's the food, you become more receptive because now this seed that's been planted in your mind all these years is now removed because of the light social media is shedding, because the world is a smaller place. Before, you're not just being spoon-fed. Africa is this, blah, blah, blah. What is you're seeing? We're starving kids, drinking water from a river. Now you're seeing roads, you're seeing cars. You're seeing, oh, wow, it's not really what I thought it was like. Oh, it's actually kind of like here. Oh, wow, the people here are more relatable than I thought. So it changes perspective, you know, and takes the poison out of people's mind that have been fed.
Right. Now, Nigerian music obviously is doing well, but also with that, like you were saying earlier, comes certain funny things. You know, for example, Kiss Daniel, right? That's something trendy. You know, in the past few days, he got caught with some fake Louis Vuitton stuff on on him, right? So, and a lot of people are making comments about that, and there's a lot of talk around people living a fake lifestyle, you know, fake lifestyle. They want to live in Lekki too. They want to live on the highland like the big boys, like the Dangotes. And the truth is that they can't. Maybe Davido can afford a banana island house, but the average artist in Nigeria cannot afford it.
Davido has money before he started making music. So Davido,
I don't like mentioning that. Let me say Whiskey then.
Whiskey hustled. He made his own money.
Okay, so Whiskey can afford a house on Banana Island at least now, right? Maybe on Lekki at least, in Ikoyi at least, right? But a lot of artists in Nigeria, Kiss Daniels is not there yet, right? He really can't afford to be flunking money all around, right? But
I don't know who Kiss Daniels is, to be honest. I've heard the name. If I see him, I won't recognize him.
you know the song "Would You"?
Yeah. So it's not out there like that, man.
No, he is. He had the #1 song for 3 months.
If Olamide is a bigger artist than whoever that is. I don't.
No, of course. But that's my point exactly. Olamide doesn't even live on island from the last time I checked.
Olamide is a tout, area boy.
He doesn't even live on island, but people like Kiss Daniel would want to obviously shine, live close to the bosses of the industry, you know, live in Lekki. But those things cost money. They want to buy cars, right? They want to look like
that's where the money room comes in. That's where we come in, because people, and that's what record labels do. Record labels give people these things, and it's wrong. When I say money comes in, I mean people want to invest in the industry, but that's where it comes in, because artists want to have these looks. It happens here. Ja Rule, MTV. It came recently that MTV created that show,
Right.
The house he used for MTV Cribs was rented. The
Oh,
owner,
at the time.
yeah, it was rented. The owner is actually trying to sue him. So that happens here too. So that's why people, when you have the money, you fund these guys. You rent the stuff out to these guys. The guy needs a car, you rent the car for him. You go down stuff. You give the imagery that they want. It sells music, it sells videos. It's all about image. That's what those people.
Yeah, Nigerian people call it packaging.
Packaging.
Because it's supposed to help you create more business too, you know.
Yeah.
And
It happens here too.
So what do you think that where's the balance? Because at the end of the day, this is showbiz and it must make sense, dollars, right? And if it doesn't, you're gonna be out of business soon. I mean, you know Brimo, right? Brimo.
I've heard the name. What's Brimo?
Exactly. Brimo is the guy who sang "Ole Cool" with Ice Prince.
He's not big like that. He's not big like that. Ice Prince is big though.
Exactly, but the guy got sued by Chocolate City. You know, you at least know Chocolate City, right?
Of course.
He got sued. They told him he can't use the music, and all this kind of stuff. Nigerian people are really there when it comes to the league.
I think this is what I think. I think some people do fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that, but it's okay if you don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it, but you better fucking make it.
You better make it because you're gonna be the butt of the joke.
Or at least be realistic. Be realistic. Like some, and that's why some artists don't even give themselves that pressure. It's just
no, I do believe in packaging, presentation. I believe
some artists don't want to deal with that pressure. Like so, that's why right now in this new age, you see that there's people are just real. Right, so artists don't want to deal with that pressure. Why put up a front? Artists are just real. Like, hey, this is Kendrick Lamar. You know, they take all that pressure off their shoulders.
What do you mean? Why put up a front?
Huh?
What do you mean? Why put up a front?
A lot of artists come out there acting like they have money, they have change, but the record label just gave you the stuff for your video.
Well, I'm saying people literally force themselves into that lifestyle. Sometimes some of them, even the band ended up in the lawsuit last year on a house that he supposedly rented in Lekki. That's a fact. The reason why I agreed earlier with you when you said the band was worth $30 million, because I know for a fact that brand is worth $30 million if he knows what to do with it. As far as liquid cash in the bank, it doesn't necessarily always translate to that. You know?
No. When I say when someone's worth 30 million, you're not worth the liquid cash. Liquid cash is not necessarily what you're worth. What you're worth is the assets you own.
Assets, right?
It's assets. That's what it comes down to.
Right. So even someone like him, like he run into a lawsuit with a guy who said he didn't pay rent or whatever in the islands, right? In Lagos Island. Sorry, in the islands in Nigeria, right? Lagos Island is another name of a town. I don't want to confuse that. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think presentation is everything, packaging is everything. That can affect your bottom line, but I think it's a double-edged sword.
It's a balance.
There's a balance. Yeah, you can run into a problem, but that's the effect of the success that Afrobeat has brought, because the likes of Davido will flunk money, kind of like we were talking about Floyd Mayweather, right?
Nigeria, I feel like that packaging issue is a lot more in Nigeria. Like you know, here people still package a lot. Don't get it wrong. People package depending on what industry. People do a lot of packaging, a lot of stuff that just look cool, but you know they go home and they eat sardine. But at the end of the day, the point is, in Nigeria, that stuff is a lot more, and I think that's part of the culture, because Nigeria like to floss and they like to stunt, and it's not just in Afrobeat, just like Nigerian lifestyle. People like go out and show themselves, like, so look, this is a big boy, you know, and that
showmanship, yeah.
Even
pastors do it.
It creates people to overdo things that he can't afford. Like, who the fuck are you trying to impress? I don't give a fuck about impressing. I impress
the market, the people that are going to buy from you.
I'm very impressed with myself. Who the fuck are you? I want to impress you. You know what I mean? That's my mentality. When a lot of Nigerians, they want to impress. Like, look at this, and at the end of the day, you're suffering for trying to impress people who don't even fucking like you. Fuck you, man. You know, like, who the fuck are you trying to impress?
Easier said than done, though. Easier said than done.
No, but
especially in that industry.
I mean, in the industry, especially, yes, but
that pressure is real.
But in that industry, even more. I'm talking about in Nigeria, the culture. That's one thing that I don't even.
Let me tell you a story, right? It's similar to what we're talking about, right? With regard, you want to grab water? You good?
I'm good.
All right. It's similar to what we're talking about. There's this guy called Fayemi, who was the governor of Ekiti State, and he the governor convoys, like 26 cars when they're traveling, and and then when he got there,
come on, sure.
he said he doesn't want 26 cars in his convoy. That's too much for him, and he can't handle it. That it needs to be 4. That means a car with the aids in his own car, a car to lead the way so he doesn't enter something strangely because he's still a governor, but at least 4 cars. So a bunch of people now came to him and said, hey, you can't do that. Like the aid buses and stuff, like, you can't do that. We need all these people following you. But that's even the least of the story, right? Those ones want their people to eat, because the more they go on those trips, the more money they can flunk around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said the people from his village came to his office, His Excellency office, and said, "Are you sure you're from a village?" And he was like, "Yes." It was like, "Oh, so why do you come in the middle of the night and leave at night, like you're some kind of slave or something? Like, we need you to come with those convoys. We need them to know that our son is the governor. every time every time you come and go, we must hear the sirens. They must know." The next door, like, we must start hearing the siren from the other village. The next door village must know that our son is the governor of this state. So you're right. It is kind of part of the culture,
Yeah, and I think sometimes people are too small-minded. They're bothering themselves with about. Now, let's put for example, they want people to know. Oh yeah, the next village to know. Oh, someone from this village is the freaking governor. Or that. Who gives a fucking shit? How the
They do. They do. I don't.
know.
But you got to know, sometimes your market care about those things and they affect your bottom line, and you have to pay attention to that.
You're right. And those kind of things come into play. But I feel like some people are so small-minded. And don't get me wrong. I like to stunt too. I like to stunt, but I stunt for myself. I enjoy it.
It's because you enjoy that.
I want to do it, exactly. But some people will do that because they want people to say, "Wow, look," you know what I'm saying? And they'll do it so much, will be to their own detriment. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. That's going on in the music industry in Nigeria, because the success is there, but that creates pressure for the upcoming artists.
The culture, and it's coupled with the culture already.
Yeah. But Afrobeat is going to places, man. I mean, they haven't.
I'm happy to see that.
Africa in general. I mean, Nigeria takes the lead when it comes to entertainment in Africa, and even if they do something, they create a dance in another country, Nigeria is going to steal that dance and make it better. So, but even if they start a new music style, Nigeria will steal the sound and make it better. And even when it comes to speaking English, we can steal the accent and make it better. So this is just what we do. But yeah, on the front end of Afrobeats, I think now in terms of in dollars, I do think money is counted in dollars in the music industry in Nigeria right now. Because all those cars they're using, they sell. There's none of them are Nigerian branded cars, and they sell them in dollars.
You know what? In a way, you're right, but it's at the same time. The best way to put it is, in Nigeria, everything is not everything, but like especially in Lagos, industry wide. If they do something that's expensive, say I'm going to go get like a expensive house, they go and price it to $1 million because they know most people who want to buy that kind of house, they either travel or they come from overseas. They're familiar with dollars. They'll price in dollars because they want to get upper value for it. So when it comes to upper level things, financially in Nigeria, whether it's a car in a nice dealership, whether it's a house in a nice area, they're going to price it in dollars because they expect you to either have dollars or have access to dollars, right? So that's given for all most industry in Nigeria overall. But at the same time, in the same plane of things, we're talking about Afrobeats right now. No matter what, that's how I put dollar is not just in Nigeria. It's almost like a global currency. It's like a standard. Right? That's
of course. Mm-hmm.
So that's why they use that. But at the end of the day, Nigerians who takes money in dollars, they're not thinking in dollars. They're thinking in naira. Asking for money in dollars, but you're thinking naira because you're going to spend that in naira. You think, okay, this amount of dollars can buy me this in naira. So at the end of the day, even though they kind of standardize using dollars for like a global level, because it's a global industry, right? The Sony, they deal with people internationally. So the global industry. So you got to talk in dollars at that point.
Let me share one more example.
At the end of the day, when these people collect this money in dollars, they're thinking, okay, it's gonna buy me this in naira.
Yeah, well, that's if they're buying stuff in naira.
Because if you live there,
a lot of their products is imported.
Gas, everything, you live there.
Everything, especially in Lagos, everything in Lagos is imported. imported. That's a sad part of what we do, by the way, in Nigeria. That's part of the reasons why economy is having a hard time, because everything is imported. And that means everything is actually bought in dollars, by the way.
Even not always does, but important. Even at petroleum, but it's not from here though.
Yeah,
Let's put it to Europe, you know, and they bring it
well,
back.
when you in general terms, right? When your country does more importing than exporting, that's bankruptcy, right?
That's not
Forget
good.
dollars.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's hard. So, and that's the good part about music, because that's one thing we get to export, right? Which is music,
Exactly.
right? And entertainment.
Like we spoke about Nollywood,
Now,
Afrobeats. That's our export. That's good. Yeah.
the number, I forgot which one it was. It was either number one or number two importer of champagne around the world is Nigeria, because of the nightlife. Okay. The one thing that drives nightlife is also still entertainment, primarily Afrobeats. Like the club scene in Lagos, in Abuja, is world class. Like the ceilings, like the entrance, the bouncers, the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're right.
Number,
You're right.
the number one or the number two importer of champagne around the world. Somebody has to pay for that, and they're not paying in naira.
You're right, and it's stupid because again, that goes back to my whole point of people trying to package, trying to impress. The whole
Packaging
is suffering. Well, you're spending too much money on champagne. What are your priorities, bro? What the fuck are your priorities? 80% of your budget, 80% of your budget is going to popping bottles.
Popping bottles.
The other 20%, you're living like living hand to mouth for the next week, eating sardine. Like, no, that's stupid. You know,
It is stupid.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and it's a problem, and I think it's cultural, because even some of our boys here the other time, I was hearing some people popping bottles and spending 5-7 grand in a club. I'm like, why?
And don't get me wrong, some people have the money. You have money. Some people in Nigeria actually have the money to do it.
Bill Gates has the money too.
Well, that's hard-earned money, or is even stolen money. People have the money to do it. But the problem is, those people who have money to do it, other people who don't have the money to do it are not trying to keep up with those people because they want to, you know, do it for the culture.
Keeping up with the Jonesies.
You know, come on.
Yeah, that doesn't work. So yeah, I guess that's the negative. You know, Afrobeat is definitely getting up there. It's an even playing ground field. Everybody can upload music to iTunes, to Apple Music, Spotify. Everybody can upload music to those things, and they can become very popular off of YouTube videos. I mean, for the past 10 years right now, the quality of music videos in Nigeria has been like up there, like same class as the kind of music video you get from Kanye, from Michael Jackson, is what you will get out of Nigeria. And even some of the new directors, like music directors coming out of Nigeria, from just having a simple $30 access to Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, whatever, they're able to create world-class videos by getting creative with a DSLR camera.
Technology is definitely help a lot. And just wrap things up, just wrap things up on this episode of Afrobeats. This is what I have to say to you guys. If you want to put your money somewhere where it's going to grow, if you're not trying to, but you want to invest in Africa, you want to invest in African industry, then I invest in Nollywood. Another good place you can invest your money in is Afrobeats. Afrobeats is the next hip hop, is the next reggae. Afrobeats is an up and up, right? Africa is trending, right? And guess what? I'm African.
Wakanda.
Wakanda forever, baby.
I haven't seen the movie, by the way.
What? Come on, bro.
It's all good. I don't do movies. We'll see when it comes to Netflix. Sorry.
Come on.
So
I'm from your house.
Huh?
I'm from Qatar, man.
I don't live in Karet. I live in Avenel, bro.
Close enough.
All right, yeah, that's a good one, man. Good episode, man. As usual, we'll be back here, and we said we're gonna talk about more trendy stuff as time goes on.
Exactly. So keep liking, keep subscribing. Watch the videos. We do this for fun. That's the entrepreneur lifestyle. We can do what the fuck we want, but stay tuned. Ask us questions. We'll talk to you guys. See you on the next episode.
Absolutely. Peace.
Peace.